Hello everybody, Andrew Mather here from Double Dash Motorsport Media. First of all, thank you for clicking on the video here on the Alpha Live YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. They're doing some great work even at this difficult time through the COVID-19 crisis. Mentioning that, I do hope you and your family are safe at this difficult time. I do hope you had as good an Easter as you possibly could have. We're here today to address a challenge given to us as commentators around the patch by Alpha Live, to name the top 5 races that we've done individually with Alpha Live. Now that's a bit of a challenge for us at DDMM because we've been lucky enough to partner with Alpha Live pretty much from day one. And I started things with BUKC qualifiers, streams in the Northampton Karting League, so there was a big breadth of footage for us to go through. We're going to start with this first race. Not too long ago, last summer, Club 100 headed down to Lydd kart circuit for a round of their sprint championship that was streamed together between Alpha Live and Double Dash Motorsport Media. And there was one guy who was at the top of the tree at the time and still is at the top of that tree. And to be honest, has been at the top of that tree for a good few years, a guy by the name of Joe Holmes. Dominant in the heavyweight class for the last few years, and that's quite something because it's been a bit of a strong class, that one, for the last few seasons. But here we had a bit of a strange situation. Joe hadn't had a good run through the heats, so started from the middle of the field in the A final, a position he maybe wasn't quite accustomed to in such a race, with his title rivals out front looking to take the opportunity and gain some points back on him. We dared in the commentary box to write Joe off, thinking that it would be on a bit of a damage limitation job. What we proceeded to see was one of the most remarkable drives through a quality field in Club 100 in years. So let's take a look at it. The A final in the heavyweight class from Club 100 Lydd 2019.
Right then, let's talk you through it. Then the grid for your heavyweight sprint A final for round 7 of the 2019 Club 100 Sprint Championship in the heavyweights. Anwar Barul-Smith has done the best across the heats and starts from pole. Costa Karitsis will be alongside Steve Brown. We had him in the box just a race or so ago. Super GT starts third. Luke Hornsby's had an amazing day. Good point. There will be practice on this one. I won't rush so much. It's a good point. Yeah. Luke Hornsby's had a fantastic day to position himself in 4th. Stephen Downs has had a fantastic day to position himself in 5th. Adam Wright will start this one from 6th. Richard Allen, your points leader in the Super Heavies coming into the day, he's had a really impressive run as well in 7th with Mark Ridout alongside him on the 4th row. Jack Bolton and Miguel Hall make up row 5, with Stuart Jones and Aaron Stevens having a strong showing today on row 6. Joe Holmes, 2 wins and a wall, have put him into 13th place for this heavyweight sprint A final. He needs to be in the top 12 to make it into the super final. Lenny Wood will start alongside him. Been a strong day for Lenny. See how he goes there. Craig Brown and Stephen Jennings are on row 8. On row 9, it will be Simon Lloyd and Ben Bennyworth. Ben Bennyworth being the only other super heavyweight driver in the field other than Richard Allen. Tim Hill and Alex Pritchard will be on row 10. Row 11 will be Steve Bosley and Robert Stapleton. Steve Lindley and Nima Opavar will be row 12. And then your promotees from the B final will be Tarek Almu and Daniel Taylor. They'll be promoted up to the back of this one, having finished in the top 2 positions in your B final. And indeed, we'll have practice. I'm not sure why I started off rushing through it. It's just the rate of... They haven't even gone out onto track yet, Andrew. It's just the rate of change. It's the rate of the programme that we run here. I just naturally rush through it. But yes, this is going to be an interesting one. There's an opportunity here for the big rivals of Joe Holmes in the championship to capitalise whilst he's dealing with the fact that he's starting in 13th. So you've got Anwar Barul-Smith, 2nd in the points, starting on pole. You've got Adam Wright, 3rd in the championship points coming into today, starting from 6th on the grid. Dan Taylor just to round out, let's go with the top 5. Dan Taylor's 4th in the point standing in the heavyweights, with Craig Brown in 5th. All of those people, I'm just going to check this, are starting yeah, Dan Taylor isn't ahead.
Dan Taylor's not made the
I final. Sorry, the producers just come
James
through.
is very loud enough.
Very loud
It
at
gave me a
event.
heart attack.
So the exception of Dan Taylor, and I just went down to 5th position, 6th,
Yeah.
7th, 8th in the championship. There's a big opportunity here for people to take points off of Joe Holmes.
Indeed. Andrea De Filippi, hello, has said, let's go Super Steve. Do keep your comments on YouTube coming in over the course of these A finals, and then when we go into the Super Final as well. I've been chatting with a couple of drivers before, whilst on the lunch break. I think the general feeling is that, Joe Holmes should make the Super Final. He's got to get top 12. Yeah. The worry will be more from the perspective of when he had his incident where he went straight to the fence, he was in that midfield battle, and that's always the risk of being in there. You're never quite sure what's going to happen.
I think what it is if you're... So you've got to think of it of if you're starting in the heats and you get random grids.
Yep.
But actually, let's go a bit higher level than that. If you're starting far back on the grid, you need something to upset the rhythm of the race such that you can move forward.
Yep.
Could be rain, could be an incident, could be someone defending like crazy because they're holding on to a particular position for a particular reason, like a promotion. In the heats, we have random grids, so you see a lot of change, these things where we say, and such has gained 8 positions on the first lap. What a fantastic lap. And it is a great first opening lap, but it's a random grid. You have a spattering of different levels of skills and experience throughout the grid. If you're starting in, 15th in the Super Final, you've all got there on merit.
Yeah.
You don't have as many things that will upset the rhythm of the race such that you will just be able to propel yourself forward. So starting 15th in the Super Final is very different to starting 15th in a heat race like we had this morning.
Correct.
And that's the big deal for Joe Holmes. The question is, can he, and even in this race, this A final we're about to see, all the drivers ahead of him are ahead of him on merit. Okay, so he would expect on pace, the reason he's back there is because he had an incident where he ended up in a wall. It's not because he's been off pace today. But how high? Because, of course, wherever he finishes, we're going to squash it together with the results in the lightweights, and he's going to be double whatever he finishes in the Super Final grid, and that's going to be the challenge for him.
Absolutely. Just to throw in another point on that, though, because there's kind of 2 fronts on this. There's the normal heavyweights championship, which has the drop scores, but then there's the Super Final championship, which doesn't have drop scores.
Yeah.
I do wonder, does Joe play this on the basis of forget about the heavyweight championship at this precise moment? It could end up as one of your drop scores because you're Joe Holmes and you've won that many A finals across the course of the season. You get 3 drop scores, but you could risk it all and end up outside of the Super Final.
Well, this is the thing,
and ruin any chances that you have of winning that overall. Especially as there are rumours that he misses one of the future rumours. We didn't hear them from us. That doesn't work, does it? We're live on the air. But there's rumours
hear it from us.
that he's not going to be at one of the upcoming streamed and Super Final rounds.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think it can change his mentality towards the Andrew, because even if he's focusing on that Super Final, he's still got to finish as high as possible in this. So he just has to go for it in the usual way, I think. Just a few kart changes we spotted there. Stephen Jennings and Lenny Wood both going for a kart change, it looked like to me, in the pit lane there. So they'll have to join onto the back of the pack, which is just forming up now behind the pace car. There it is, on cue. And
just to explain to our viewers who maybe have not been before, that's why we have practice before an A final, because we want to make sure that all the drivers are absolutely happy, because this is their most, for Super Final aside, on a normal day in this championship, this is the most important race of the day, and also the race that's got the most points available for it. Considerably more points available in this race than a heat. Right, I think we're about ready to go, mate, for this heavyweight A final. Really interested to see how Luke Hornsby there, the number.
He's had a great
12.
day,
absolutely fantastic day. Fully deserves to be there, P4 on the grid. And remember, top 12 go through into the Super Final.
Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting one. Can see Joe Holmes there with his G3 Pro suit there, just the black suit with the G3 Pro logo on there. He's starting 13th. What can he do? 2 heat wins today. As I say, 1 instance of going in the wall in the 3rd heat and put him in the mid-pack for this, as it looks like we're going round again. Aaron Stevens is out of position, who's also been having a cracking day. Just the races today.
Just to remind everybody, in fact, Alpha Timing is updating itself through the middle of the event, so I can actually give you a live points tally. 1,168 points for Holmes at the moment, but crucially, a win in a heat, 20 points. Good, okay. I like the 20 points. A win in one of these A finals, 130 points, to say that it's very, very much weighted towards how the drivers do in this A final, having qualified through their performances in the heats. Right then, let's take a deep breath, because I've got a feeling that this one's going to be a cracker. This is round 7 of the Club 100 Sprint Championships 2019. This is the heavyweight A final. Eyes on the lights. We're racing at Lydd. Great start for Anwar Burrell-Smith. Oh, a lot of loading. Yeah. And Steve Brown gets pushed on in the middle, and there's a driver off towards the back as well.
Costa-Caritzis has lost out so heavily there, Andrew. He's right at the back. His wheels are on the grass there. He got absolutely mugged there. Steve Brown did a robust start, put Costa out wide, but then with the loading as well, it just exacerbated the situation. And look, there he is, fighting with Ben Bennyworth towards the back of the field. Disaster start for Costa-Caritzis. And that's Richard Allen, who's got himself up to 2nd place.
Well, that's really shaking the order up. But I tell you what, who's got well out of this? Joe Holmes. He's gained about 5 or 6 positions already. So who's that going to the inside? It's Miguel Hall in the 39. And a cross-start finish. Here we go then. It's Burrell-Smith from Allen, Downs, Bolton, Hornsby, Jones, Holmes, Brown, Wright, Ridout. That's your top 10. Craig Brown and Miguel Hall at the moment getting the last 2 spots from this race into the Super Final.
Super GT fans lament he's gone down 6 places to 8th place on that first lap, and Joe Holmes has just completely negated anything we were talking about. He's up into the top 10, fighting there with Stuart Jones in the 66. We're looking ahead to Jack Bolton, who's challenging Stephen Downs into the Horseshoe Complex.
Penalty for Costa, bump and pass. Now, was he adjudged to be the cause of some of the loading?
Well, okay.
Possibly. We'll wait and see what that penalty is for. But on the inside, here goes Richard Allen. Richard Allen to the lead. What a move that was on Anwar Burrell-Smith, and Richard Allen leads here in Club 100 at Lydd.
Super heavyweight leads overall in heavyweights. Don't get to say it very often, but Richard Allen's form has been something else at the moment, and takes it off of Anwar Burrell-Smith. Jack Bolton up to 3rd past Stephen Downs as we saw them battling last lap. Luke Hornsby doing well to hold on for 5th at the moment. Still Joe Holmes hounding Stuart Jones for 6th place in the back of your shot there. But look at this, Richard Allen, his green super heavyweight plate. That's what denotes that. It's greens for the super heavies, blues for the class 2 runners, and yellow for the class 1s. As Jack Bolton having a look at Anwar Burrell-Smith, but thinks better of it.
Jack Bolton has been absolutely on it here today. He's been very, very quick, having one of the strongest rounds he's had in a while. Having a little look up the inside of Anwar Burrell-Smith there for 2nd place. Stephen Downs is in there as well. Stephen Downs having an absolute stormer. And look at this, Bolton's up the inside. He's gone for 2nd place. Downs is going to try and go round the outside of Anwar Burrell-Smith. That's an outrageous manoeuvre. My goodness me. Take a hat tip, Stephen Downs. You've just gone round the outside of a former Premier champion. That is remarkable. And there's Luke Hornsby now fending off Joe Holmes, and Steve Brown's in there as well. Look at this. I didn't expect to see this. Holmes versus Brown.
Yeah, they've both taken Stuart Jones, by the way. Stuart Jones now behind Joe Holmes and Steve Brown, and under the sights of Adam Wright, excuse me. And Joe Holmes down the inside of Hornsby in that last corner, and he's got the job done there. So that's now Joe Holmes up to 5th place. He's doing everything he needs to do, and suddenly we spoke about Anwar having an opportunity, Andrew. Joe Holmes is on Anwar's tail now.
Absolutely. I mean, our regular viewers are probably wondering, Andrew, what the hell are you on about? We see Holmes versus Brown all the time, but we don't see him in the middle of a pack like this, having to fight their way through. Luke Hornsby is now the meat in the Super Gods sandwich in Club 100, and there goes Holmes at the inside of Burrell-Smith. Yep. So Holmes now up to 4th place. He couldn't possibly do this, could he? He couldn't possibly win the A final from 13th on the grid.
Hornsby on Burrell-Smith, Andrew. He had a run down the back straight. Not sure if he was able to convert it at the end, but Luke Hornsby was trying to capitalise on the upset momentum there.
Oh, big one in the wall.
Whoa,
Stuart Jones is in
Stuart
the wall. And Tim Hill's off as well. This is coming off the last corner, and 2 drivers in the wall, and that's their chances of being in the super final gone. As look at this, Steve Brown now fighting with Anwar Barul-Smith, former rivals a few years ago when Anwar Barul-Smith won the Club 100 Sprint Elite Championship, and I think there's been a bit of a gap now that's developed. Anwar Barul-Smith is on the defensive, he's going backwards. Mark Ridout is there as well in the black and yellow suit. Meanwhile, up at front, Richard Allen and Jack Bolton still out ahead of Stephen Downs, but Joe Holmes is cruising in like a missile.
And Jack Bolton, Stephen Downs and Joe Holmes are working together at the moment, Andrew, to get onto the back of Richard Allen. They really are. They're not putting in moves here, a bit like these guys are, which is Anwar Barul-Smith with Mark Ridout challenging Steve Brown as well. Mark Ridout, by the way, followed Steve Brown through on Luke Hornsby last lap. Hornsby still doing well, though, there in 8th place as they work their way through chicane 2. Who's on the bubble at the moment? Simon Lloyd is your last placed promotee at the moment. Steve Bosley is right on his tail. Here goes Holmes on Stephen Downs. So they're no longer working together. Holmes is feeling held up there. He's gone up the inside of Stephen Downs. There's not many people who've felt held up by Stephen Downs so far today, but they are closing in. They're still working together well here, ultimately to close up onto the back of Richard Allen, whose pace is, look at this, 4 wide down the back straight. How's that all going to end? That was crazy stuff going on in the midfield. That's from about 16th downwards, and it's Costa working his way back up.
Brown's got himself through. Steve Brown, crucial move.
Oh.
It's a P5. Aaron Stevens is off over the curb there, and Adam Wright's absolutely furious with Anwar Barul-Smith, who's holding everybody up. I think Anwar Barul-Smith might have a problem, and he realises this is why he's defending so hard, because he's going to lose his spot in the super final.
Yeah, that side-by-side action between Miguel Hall and Aaron Stevens was for crucial 12th place, of all things. There's Steve Brown, who has now broken away from this battling group. Steve Brown's trying to get onto the back of the Bolton Holmes Downs effort that are trying to catch up to Richard Allen, if that made sense. And look at how defensive everyone's going. Anwar Barul-Smith is creating a new circuit out there as round the outside tries Adam Wright. How's he going to make that pay off? He nearly did, you know. He's been able to hold on, but it's going to allow Mark Ridout through and up into 6th place. So it's Barul-Smith in 5th. Barul-Smith in 6th, Ridout and then Wright.
Just to throw your heart pressure up a little bit more, mate.
Oh, thank you.
Jack Bolton's just set the fastest lap of the race so far, 44.644. He's only 0.25 of a second behind Richard Allen. Richard Allen did not have a good lap last time around. It's the leaders have changed. The lead's changed. Jack Bolton to the front now, and Richard Allen's fighting back, and Joe Holmes is cruising in now up to the back of them. Also, just to mention, Steve Downs, very, very sensible in this situation, thinking C2 championship.
Yep.
He's a little bit further down at the moment, but it's not fully representative because he missed round 5. He's thinking championship here for his C2 class. This would be a huge day for him if he could pull off this 4th place.
Yeah, and the next C2 runner is Steve Bosley down in 9th, doing very well, but not about to challenge in here. So savvy driving here from Stephen Downs, and he's keeping himself in it. If it all comes to blows in front of him, he's ready there to pounce for the overall positions as well. We do need to keep an eye on the pace of Steve Brown and see if he's reeling these guys in at all. Although the gap is some 4.5 seconds, that would take quite a bit over the remaining 5 minutes. Jack Bolton feels the need to go a bit defensive against Richard Allen.
And
as they were. And that's Aaron Stevens. Oh, and he was fighting for one of those last promotion spots into the super final. But look at this. Looking up the inside was Richard Allen there, but the opportunity not on there. Joe Holmes will have sniffed the opportunity there, but immediately Allen's back onto the pace and challenging Bolton again. As Bolton is going super defensive, and it's allowing them, as there'll be yellows out, so that's where Aaron Stevens presumably is stricken at the side of the road. Disappointing for him because he's had a really strong day. There he is recovering, you just saw on the outside of the corner. Richard Allen, though, ducking his head down, trying to set up the slipstream here. How defensive does Bolton feel the need to go? A little bit of a shallower line there, but he should get away with that one. It's a short straight heading towards turns 1 and 2.
There's so much going on in this race, I don't know where to look, but Jack Bolton, who's been on absolutely brilliant form, the best form of his season so far, continues to lead here with 3.5 minutes to go. Remember, once the time has expired, that will be the final lap. No +1 lap here for anyone wondering on those kind of sprint negotiations. Jack Bolton continuing to soak up the pressure here. Richard Allen hasn't made the move though, but here comes Joe Holmes, the championship leader, up the inside, takes second place. And just like yesterday in the Enduros when he took the win for G3 Pro off racingclassics.com on the penultimate lap of the race, here he is again in a final in Club 100. And he's just cruising in now, I've said that quite a few times, on Jack Bolton. The gap is 0.3 of a second, and you've got to think, Howard, on this kind of pace, on this kind of form, nobody cares about the moment in the fence earlier, because this is classic Joe Holmes. You'd be a very, very brave man to bet against him at this precise moment.
He's doing what Joe Holmes does best, which is just driving a car and racing a car absolutely superbly here at the moment. And the wall hasn't phased him at all, has it? We were probably a bit wrong to put so much weight on it, to be perfectly honest. But here he is now, looking at getting the win. He's got a bit of a run on Bolton. Oh, there was a little thought there, wasn't there? But he thinks better of it. There'll be better opportunities, he feels, coming up. Brilliant play.
Oh, sorry. A gutting moment. Luke Hornsby's had some form of incident and is down to 23rd. His best hopes of a super final this year have gone, and he's out of the top 12. So your top 12 at the moment is Bolton, Holmes, Allen on your screen now. Down still there in 4th, Steve Brown in 5th, 6th for Mark Ridout, and here comes Holmes. He's attacking again. He's going this way and that. He's almost trying to go over the top of Jack Bolton if he could, and I wouldn't put it against him. Mark Ridout, Adam Wright, Anwar Brule-Smith, Simon Lloyd, Miguel Hall, Steve Bosley, Alex Pritchard from nowhere. There's your top 12, but here they go for the lead. Bolton goes tight to the corner. They're side by side. There's contact.
Look out
and
for
Richard Allen is up the inside as well. Holmes is through. Holmes leads.
This is crazy stuff. There's 90 seconds left of this race. Richard Allen up into second, but Joe Holmes, having been in the wall in the previous race, is now into the leading position to take another victory in this brilliant heavyweights championship. Jack Bolton is looking for a way past Richard Allen and goes for it into the bottom parabolic corner, but Richard Allen's going to fight back here, and look out for Stephen Downs, who's been sat dormant and patiently, and he's got the job done around the outside of Richard Allen. Brilliantly played, as there's a penalty for Tarek Ahmed. Brilliantly played by Stephen Downs. What a day he's been having as they come down the back straight. He feels the need to go defensive against Richard Allen. Penalty for Tarek Almu is significant because he was knocking on the door of the top 12, so that's him out the running to do that. Costa was just on the brink of getting into the top 12, but has dropped back as well. As we're on to the last lap of this one, Joe Holmes, your leader, Jack Bolton in second, and Stephen Downs holding off Richard Allen. He goes defensive into the bottom corner. Is that going to give Richard Allen any drive up the hill and over the rise? He's looking for it, but I don't know if he can find it. He does! Down the inside into the horseshoe. Superb stuff from the Super Heavyweight Championship leader. They're coming onto the back straight now, and surely Joe Holmes is going to have enough in hand. Yes, he is. What a drive this has been from 13th on the grid. We doubted him. We shouldn't have done. Joe Holmes takes the victory in the heavyweights for round 7. Jack Bolton finishes second. Richard Allen finishes third and highest of the super heavyweights. And Stephen Downs finishes a brilliant day, finishing 4th overall and highest placed of the Class 2 runners.
In all my years of watching Club 100 racing, I don't think I've ever seen a drive quite like that. What an unbelievable piece of racing by Joe Holmes. As Howard said, from 13th on the grid against one of the strongest grids in this competition in this club, he took on all comers and beat them. Have that, rest of heavyweights class. Is he your champion-elect in this heavyweights class? Is he your champion-elect in the super final? Because we've still got that to come up. What a win for Joe Holmes. He wins round 7 of the Club 100 Heavyweight Sprint Championships for 2019. One word, Howard. Wow.
Well, a truly remarkable drive there by Mr. Holmes, and we'll see more Club 100 action later on in this video. Now we're going to go up north. We're going to go pretty much from one end of the country to the other. We've been lucky many times to commentate up at Teesside Autodrome on a number of different series. For the second race that we're going to view here today, we're going to go to British Mini Bikes, and a chance I got to fill in for my good colleague Howard Mitchell for the start of their 2018 season. What I love about British Mini Bikes is that not only is the paddock one of the friendliest paddocks I've ever been in, and a real good camaraderie around the patch. The racing in British mini bikes is always really, really exciting, but there was one race in particular in the Teesside visit in 2018 that sticks in the mind, and it was the Pit Bike Stock 140 race. And well, I'm just going to let the race talk for itself really, as you join myself and Jacob Harris on the commentary. This was a truly remarkable one, with a certain move that was very much reminiscent of a certain overtake round Spa-Francorchamps a few years ago. Let's take over to the Pit Bike Stock 140 race round Teesside Autodrome from 2018.
We're getting ready then for the Pit Bike Stock 140s and their second race of the day. And let's run through the grid for you. You'll see the graphic going on the screen. We'll catch up with it in a second. So race 22. Ben Bailey starts on pole position with Matthew Bolsover in second, Richard Holmes Williams on third, Alex Carter fourth, Ben Lord and Luke Westerman fifth and sixth, Ben Cotgrove seventh with Liam Sanderson in eighth, Mark Evans ninth and Chris Grieve in 10th, Billy Pearson in 11th, Jamie Callan in 12th, Ava Carter in 13th, and Danny Underwood 14th. 15th is Alex Latham and 16th Leighton Santos. 17th is an unknown rider, 18th is Ben Klukas, 19th is Michael Ford, 20th is Phil Dickens, wrapping up that top 20. 21st is Connor Winters, 22nd is Joe Mills, 23rd is an unknown rider, 24th is Chris Edwards, 25th is Keir Armstrong, 26th is James Mountney, 27th is Lee Sanderson, 28th is Mick Lord, 29th is Tom Salmon, 30th, wrapping out the top 30, is Ben Squire, 31st is going to be number 717 of Howard Taylor, and then 32nd is John Buckle, 33rd is Ed Peed, 34th is Joshua Bednarek, 35th is Marshall Richardson, 36th is Ben Pearson, 37th is Matt Cox, 38th is Ian McQuail, 39th Alex Thurston, 40th is Ben Fenland, 41st is Shane Mountney, 42nd Jack Williamson, 43rd is Cameron Brown, 44th is Daniel Dickinson, but I think he's not going to be taking part in this race because of gearbox issues. 45th is Robin Holmes, 46th Owen Connell, then Jack Sales, Wayne Chaplin and Daniel Pearson. 49 entries in this Pit Bike Stock 140 senior class.
Yes, we love the big grids, Andrew.
We do indeed. So we've got this race plus 2 more to go. We're getting ready then. Green flag being prepared. It's up in the air. When it goes down, the racing will be go, and away we go here at Teesside for the Stock 140s. Great start for Ben Bailey in the pink helmet there. He's streaked into the lead and should retain the lead down into turn 2.
Yes, I think Matthew Bolsover's just about held on to second as well under extreme pressure. Looks like he got into that turn 2 in second place. Not quite. Someone else, I think it's Richard Holmes Williams or Alan Carter even, coming through into second, going up the hill. Let's have a look where they are coming down the back straight.
Well, it's still Ben Bailey in the lead there, and it looks to me like Alan Carter might have come to this second place, or it might be Ben Lord again. Ben Lord did a very similar job in the first race in this class, starting from 5th position, and the rest of them file through.
Yes, I think a good race here, Andrew, and this could be my class of the day.
Absolutely. Luke Westerman has had a very good start again as well, up to 3rd place. In fact, I think it is the 1, 2, 3 that we talked about in race 1. Bailey, Lord and Westerman.
Well, we got Carter up there as well, have we? Oh no, he's down in 5th place.
Yep.
Sorry.
Westerman getting a bit of a kick there. Looking over his shoulder, let's have it confirmed as they go over start-finish. Yes, it is Ben Bailey, Ben Lord, and Ben Lord. No, sorry, that's Alan Carter going through into 4th place, but Ben Bailey, Ben Lord, Luke Westerman, the same top 3 that we had in the first race. Alan Carter up to 4th, Matthew Bolsover in 5th, and Richard Holmes-Williams wrapping out the top 6.
Yes, these are some very good riders, Andrew, and expect to see another top quality race here as Ben Bailey leads them up the hill. Ben Lord in behind him, and race winner Luke Westerman coming in 3rd.
6-lap race, this one. Oh, and side by side, Ben Lord trying to go round the outside. He's done it. He's done it. Round the outside into the S's. We saw this in race 1 that Ben Lord has got a good amount of straight line speed, and he uses it to his advantage there and takes the lead away from Ben Bailey.
That was an exquisite overtake from Ben Lord. Didn't expect to see him go around the outside there, but he has done, and he's made it stick. Leads them into the carousel now as Westermore comes around the outside. Bailey's under pressure here, but he holds the inside line, and there's nothing Westerman can do.
Westerman has already won a couple of races here today, and let's look at this move again. Just a straight drag race, and Ben Bailey looks to his left. There's nothing he can do. Ben Lord comes flying through and takes the lead.
It's back out on track, and Lord still leads, but up the inside goes Westerman into turn 2. He looks to have taken 2nd place from Ben Bailey. Yes, indeed, he has. And now he's onto the back of Lord. Bailey slots in 3rd place.
But Westerman goes up the inside. My goodness me. That was a very brave move there, Alan Carter. Looks to me like Alan Carter, Jacob, is starting to catch this top 3.
Yes, indeed. Matt Bolsover and Richard Holmes-Williams are not too far behind either. If this gets too scrappy, they could all be involved in the challenge for the win.
And that's what we want. That's what we want as neutrals here at British Mini Bikes 2018. Luke Westerman already has 2 wins today. 1 win here in Stock 140 in the first race. Another that he had earlier in the Stock 160. Can he make it 3? As there's a move there. Is that for about 10th position? I reckon it is.
Yes, looks to be Michael Ford, Ben Cottsgrove,
Jamie Callan in there as well.
So they go now into hairpins 3 and 4, side by side.
Alan Carter's just set the fastest lap of the race so far, 1 minute 19.113 over start finish. Let's see how they order out in this one. It is still Sanderson from Ford, Callan, and then Cotgrove. And Backmark is getting involved with the leaders. In fact, there's a change for the lead there. Is that Luke Westerman into the lead?
Westerman
yes, it
is indeed in the lead, and we've got a change for 3rd place as well as Ben Bailey loses out to Alan Carter.
Side by side, Ben Lord using the pace again and retakes the lead. This is fantastic stuff here at Teesside in the British Mini Bikes round 1 for 2018. Luke Westerman looking all over the rear end of Ben Lord.
Ben Lord has certainly got the top end coming down that back straight, and I believe Ben Bailey has recovered 3rd place from Alan Carter down there as well.
So we've got a top 4 here, all going for the win, all covered by about 2 seconds. Westerman tries to look round the outside again. No way round there. So Ben Lord will retain the lead. End of lap 4, 3 laps to go.
Yeah, see what 3 laps we've got in prospect here. Through comes Lord in first, followed by Westerman, Bailey, Carter, Holmes-Williams and Bolsover. The top 4 now coming up to a bit of traffic. They got 2 back markers and the 2 plates.
Oh, look at this, side by side. Westerman sticks it up the inside through turn 2 and no, doesn't get the lead, but the back markers started to play in now. Ben Lord goes through the inside of 1. Oh my goodness me. Luke Westerman has to check up.
Bailey.
Bailey's going to take 2nd place here. He did this in the first race as well. Hand up there to say sorry. I think it was almost an apologetic move there, but there was nothing Bailey could have done. Alan Carter's still there in 4th place as well. Don't count him out of this one, but Ben Lord leads. Ben Bailey 2nd. Luke Westerman 3rd and 4th Alan Carter. But was that a mistake from Westerman? Was that a mistake? I think it was. And third, yes, Alan Carter up into third place.
Yes, it's neck and neck between the two Bens up front. Alan Carter moving into third place. Westerman in fourth. There's still another 2 laps to go after this, Andrew. This is going to go right to the wire.
Ben Lord, good pace again. He's very good out of the slow corners. Leads again. Fastest lap of the race has just been put. A 1:18.854 for Ben Bailey. That is an awesome piece of riding by Ben Bailey. Now, can he take the lead? He's got 2 laps to do it. Here we're looking at, I think, the battle for about 25th place. Back with the leaders now as Westerman goes on the inside and retakes third away from Alan Carter.
Yes, Carter's following Ben Bailey's line through there, which takes him right tight on the left-hander.
Look at this, side by side, Bailey. What a move through and into the lead. Past Ben Lord in, well, Ben Lord's favourite overtaking spot. He's just been done into the S's. What a move by Ben Bailey.
Absolutely supreme riding these last 2 laps from Ben Bailey, but Lord isn't going to take that line down. He's right up next to him through the carousel. Westerman
still there,
millimetres behind.
Westerman likes that wide entry into hairpin 3, but it does leave him a little bit vulnerable. On to the last lap then. Ben Bailey leads, Ben Lord second, Luke Westerman third, and Alan Carter fourth. As one of the back markers there needs to be really careful not to get in the way, and he has got in the way, and Alan Carter's going to get back through. Luke Westerman looks over, not too happy about that, but the 2 Bens are now clear.
This might have left it to Ben Bailey and Ben Lord. I was just about to say any one of these 4 could win it, but I think it's between the 2 Bens now as Bailey leads Lord into the uphill section.
Battle of the Bens round 2. We saw this in the first race, and they came to blows. Luke Westerman was the rider who was the beneficiary in that one, and here we go again. Ben Lord down into the S's. He's going to do it. He's going to overtake and retakes the lead into the S's once again. What a piece of riding from Ben Lord.
He got a much better drive out the corner. He did exactly what Ben Bailey did to him just 1 lap ago. There's only a couple of corners now, but Ben Lord looks like he could have won this one.
A third of the lap to go. Ben Bailey's got, I reckon, 2 more opportunities into the hairpins. There is a back marker though, and Lord's going to have to go the long way around. He does, but Bailey's on the inside. It's going to give him the opportunity. Oh, there's contact. There's a shoulder barge there, but that was brilliant for Ben Bailey. He's retaken the lead. It's going to be a drag race to the line. Ben Bailey's going to win this. What a race. Ben Bailey wins in the pit bike stock 140. And he wins by 0.6 of a second ahead of Ben Lord. Alan Carter takes third. Luke Westerman was fourth. Matthew Bolsover was fifth. Richard Holmes-Williams was sixth. What a race, Jacob.
That was incredible. For any F1 fans, that last overtake there, shades of Schumacher, Hakkinen and Ricardo Zonta at Spa, I believe, back in the early noughties. Going either side of a back marker, and Bailey obviously coming off a lot better.
A very well played by Ben Bailey. He just waited for the gap to appear. He knew Ben Lord had to go around the outside of the back marker and just made sure that he was there on the apex of hairpin 3 and took a fantastic victory. Let's round out the rest of the top 10. Michael Ford was 7th, Ben Cotgrove was 8th.
Play Andrew.
Yeah, so this was the move for Lord to retake the lead going down into the S's.
And yes, Bailey just keeps him honest. He knows as long as he keeps close, he's got a chance of still winning this race. I thought Lord had it wrapped up, but that back marker in front, they reel him in just so quickly.
Yeah, we'll see it here just as they come round the long banking at the bottom of the circuit. There's the back marker, and you know there that Lord's got to go around. And I think he hesitates. He hesitates for a mere second, and that gives Bailey the opportunity on hairpin 3, get up the inside and take the win.
Yeah, so again, it's a bit of last lap mania. I think the bit of impatience there from Ben Lord. If he just waited and taken that back marker up the inside, he'd have had the defensive line into the hairpin and probably would have won that race.
That's racing sometimes. There's your result. Bailey from Lord, Carter in 3rd, Westerman 4th, Bolsover 5th, Holmes-Williams 6th, Ford in 7th, Cotgrove 8th, Callan and Sanderson wrapping out the top 10. Billy Pearson in 11th, Chris Grieve in 12th, unknown rider in 13th, Lee Sanderson 14th, Leighton Santos in 15th, Keir Armstrong in 16th, 17th was John Buckle, 18th was Chris Edwards, 19th for Howard Taylor, and Iliam Quayle wrapping out the top 20. What a race. That's taken race of the day for me. And
I did say at the start of that one that it could be my class of the day.
Well, yes.
Yeah, I think that's wrapped it up.
What a move. What a move to win a motor race. Now, we're going to go into the world of the BUKC. So if you've been a long time follower of us here at Double Dash Motorsport Media, you will know that the BUKC is pretty much where we started, both myself and Howard, racing through that series and both making our commentary debuts on it as well. And we couldn't do a DDMM top 5 with Alpha Live without giving some service to the BUKC. Last season, the BUKC made a debut visit to Three Sisters Circuit up in Wigan, so up towards the north of the country again. And personally, I thought it was a fantastic circuit for the BUKC to race around. And this was a really, really hard one because there were a number of races from this particular day that could have made it into my top 5. But we've gone with one that wasn't just a great race, but had big, big ramifications in terms of the round and who took the victory there, and also an outcome in terms of that season's championship. It was race 6 from round 3 of the BUKC 2018-2019 season. And once again, I'll let the race talk for itself as you see a fantastic battle between Lewis Bickers, Simon Morton, Tom Thickpenny and Piers Pakenham-Walsh. Let's go over it to now. BUKC, round 3, race 6 from 2019.
It's through sprint. Wheel and X to B with Kamil Chazevsky at the wheel of that effort. Henry Jackson, we just heard from him, favourite colour orange. Nottingham Trent A starts from 7th on the grid. Brooks Sear alongside in 8th. Row 5 is going to be Kingston A with Adrian Jarrich at the wheel and George Story of Northumbria B. Row 6 is Ben Street for Warwick A with Southampton A alongside. Row 7 is going to be Matthew Ryder for Loughborough C and Jeremy Todd for Swansea B. Row 8 is going to be Lewis Bickers from Team A and Thomas Fox, actually representing his own university for Aston A. Row 9 is going to be Callum Hopcutt for Coventry B and Ryan Denny for Brighton B. Rounding out the top 10 is Tom Thickpenny for Loughborough A and James King for Oxford A. Luke Mason takes the UWTSD Swansea A kart from 21st on the grid with Konstantinos starting for Exeter A alongside. Row 12 is going to be Dylan Paddison for Coventry C and Cranfield A. We don't have the driver listed for that one. Row 13 is an all Southampton affair, and I can't tell you who those drivers are either. Southampton C ahead of Southampton B. Oxford Brooks B starts 27th with Huddersfield A's Stephen Letts starting alongside in 28th, rounding up the top 13. It's an all Nottingham affair on row 15. Benjamin Ryan for Nottingham C and Oliver Vronsky for Nottingham B. Row 16 is Newcastle A's Adam Fleming with George Bridson starting alongside for Coventry A. On row 17 is Leeds A's Tom Dent, and then Ryan Edwards pilots the Swansea A effort. And then finally, on row 18 is Ethan Herford for Birmingham B, and Ollie Milner for Huddersfield B. Andrew.
Big race this. Big race. I've got that feeling that this is going to be one that we come back to at the end of the season and go, all teams have raced at least 3 times. Some of them have raced all 4 times. Those who have raced all 4 times, this one. Here's the scores and the draws. Coventry A currently have a guaranteed 172 points. They lead the round. Huddersfield A are on 167. Both of those 2 teams are in this race. Third are Cambridge A, and Coventry A can't get any higher than 6th. And for the same matter, Huddersfield A can't get any higher than 9th. Clubmen, we'll go through that as well. Sheffield A, your current clubman lead is 165 points guaranteed. They're already done. A third of the 12th. That's pretty good. I think that's going to be really hard to beat. There's only 2 teams that can. Coventry B are one of those. 12th, 7th and 2nd so far. 168 the possible score they could have. Northumbria B are the other ones as well, but they have to win the race overall. We will get on to podium ramifications as well, but just to give a quick shout out, currently I have Oxford Brooks A ranked 16th, Loughborough A ranked 14th, and Warwick A, I'm going to give a shout out as well, ranked 19th. So this is going to be really, really key. I think you're going to see a lot of teams give this everything, Howard.
Absolutely. This has been, it's been a brilliant first round for the BUKC. Oh, someone spins at the back of the grid. Someone spins round at the very back onto the grass. Will they call that start good? They will call that start good. We'll watch David Whitehouse pull to one side, and then it'll be for the last race of the day. Away we go for race number 6. Simon Morton leads them away. Matthew Lewis for Oxford Brooks A has immediately followed through and has got up to second. And look at that, Ben Street of Warwick A is right up there as well. Warwick B, sorry, Ben Simpson, excuse me, of Warwick B is right up there as well. Very unusual start there. I wonder if one side of the grid got away particularly well there, because that was a very successful campaign there for those starting on the odd side of the grid.
One driver off, going off Rogerson's straight. We'll capture who that was in a moment. Is it the last race of the day? It's not the last race of the day.
Sorry, last race of the round, excuse me. And up the inside there of Henry Jackson goes, I think that was the 8th. No, it wasn't the 8th car. It was the 8th car lead. It was number 6. So that's a brilliant start for both Warwick cars. Surprising me with quite how far up they've got there. Birmingham A leads with Simon Morton at the wheel. Matthew Lewis of Brooks A is second, but he's under pressure from Ben Simpson of Warwick B. Henry Jackson of Nottingham Trent A is 4th. 5th is Warwick A with Ben Street at the wheel. And then the 26 of Kingston A, which is Adrian Jarrich, also starting really well on that at the start of this one, as Ben Simpson looks to the inside, partially in attack, partially in defence against Henry Jackson. Henry Jackson, as he was saying on the grid to Jacob, not driven here for a while, but we know he's a fast driver for Nottingham Trent A. I think Ben Simpson just thinking, look, if you're in the sandwich, if you're trying to attack and defend, let's just go tight to the inside. Tom Thickpenny working his way up, and jinking to the inside there, trying to work his way past, I think it was UWTSD Swansea he was trying to get past there. And out wide onto the curb goes the 28. That is the Swansea Met kart. Through Luna Bend they come. There are some real moves at the start of this one. Rob Holland in the 12 there had just got past Jarrich of Kingston A. But out front, this is allowing Simon Morton to get away for Birmingham A here. Got a little bit of breathing space at the front of this one.
Have we mentioned Huddersfield A have not had a good start? They're down in 32nd position as Ben Street has a little look there. Up the inside of Matthew Lewis, and Ben Street goes through.
Yeah, but Matthew Lewis is going to try and get him back. There's a little nudge as well, which puts Street out onto the grass. He won't get too much pressure from behind because it's a Warwick 3-4 at the moment. Warwick's A and B working together, but and look at the gap already that the leader has side by side for second place. Ben Street tries to go through. Meanwhile, Warwick B have lost out as well, because up to 4th place there is Brooks B. The number 2 cars, they've really moved up the order. So it's all change here amongst this pack. I can't keep up with this one. Brooks B now past Brooks A. Now Nottingham Trent A in the 13 gets past the one of Brooks A. So that's Henry Jackson getting past Matthew Lewis. There's your leader out in front, nice and comfortable. And here is Henry Jackson going up the inside of Ben Street. And through also goes the Brooks B kart. Adrian Jarrich is in there well for Kingston. 3 wide amongst the top 10. 4 wide in some bits. The 7's on the grass somewhat. I can't keep up with it. It's just amazing to watch as they will work their way through the first 2 corners.
Lewis Bickers in the black and white suit and the black and silver helmet. He's coming through for Nottingham A as well, so he's up to P7. This is a real rough and ready battle in the top half of the... Oh, someone's gone very wide there, and that looks like Tom Dent. Tom Dent is off at Luna Bend. He was maybe forced out wide there, got onto a wet patch as well as that's the 95.
And that's a shame for Tom Dent, because that was a brilliant run from him. He started in the 30s.
95 in trouble, being tended to by one of the marshals as the Oxford Brooks B kart goes on the inside. Oh, number 12, Rob Holland is off.
Brunel A and the 14, there's Dent. He's not happy. It's race over. Has he got a problem at least with the car? Still it goes frantically, but there's yellows out into turn 1. That'll be fun to all sort themselves out for.
Yeah, we've got a lot of yellows out.
Haven't we?
We might almost go full course yellow here. The number 95 Sorry, Howard, I just need to catch who this is.
Yep.
This is Brighton B, I think are pretty much out of the race. There's a kart issue. We've got a kart stranded on circuit. We might go full course yellow here, mate.
Yeah, it's Ryan Denny at the wheel of that 95 Brighton B kart. Did we see what happened at all, mate?
Nope.
Okay. But for now, it continues. Black flag for Nottingham A, who are running in
No,
fourth.
for Kingston A. Contact warning only for Nottingham A.
Oh, apologies. Okay, yeah, that's Kingston A. So Adrian Jarrich, which is unfortunate for him in the sense that he was running very high up in the order. But Simon Morton leads. There he is in the number 8 Birmingham A car. There is Brooks B, followed by Nottingham Trent A. Henry Jackson at the wheel of that, and it's Lewis Bickers at the wheel of the Nottingham A effort, I believe. Ben Street then follows in the number 6 Warwick A kart. And Tom Thickpenny has done really well. You'll see him at the back of these shots as Lewis Bickers goes on the attack. Nottingham versus Nottingham Trent. Lovely move by Bickers there. That was beautifully judged there. Not any contact at all. That was just really nicely judged at the end of Conrad Straight. But Henry Jackson's going to try and come back at him into Joey Dunlop. Ben gets the job done. But Bickers will have the switchback coming across the line. It's going to be side by side for third place here on the road. Ben Street looming large and, well, not their mirrors, but behind them looking to take advantage if it comes his way. And Lewis Bickers has got the job done as the 32 of Coventry B goes well wide in the background, but critically and crucially from their perspective is your clubman's leaders at the moment. Meanwhile, further back, Kingston A trying to make up for their penalties to get past the Aston karts, and Southampton is in amongst this as well. We cut back to Brooks B in second, followed by Lewis Bickers of Nottingham in third, Henry Jackson of Nottingham Trent A in fourth. And look at this, Matthew Lewis gets passed there, I believe, by Ben Simpson. Yes, he does, for 8th place. Warwick B past Oxford Brooks A. Interesting what they were saying on the grid about how they've struggled with these new Evo karts, because it really is not Brooks' day so far. Tom Thickpenny's now got past Ben Street. So Loughborough A up to 5th ahead of Warwick A, I can see there. You'll see that as they come onto the Rogerson Straight.
This lead battle is not just any old lead battle, it's a lead battle that could decide who finishes second in the round. Currently, provisionally, Coventry A are winning the round, and they're winning it by 4 points. But there's a tie 4 points back between Birmingham A and Oxford Brooks B, which at the moment would go... Well, I say that's just changed, hasn't it? Because that's... the wrong Brooks car that we're looking at.
Yep.
Oh, now it's changed. Penalty. Oh, penalty for Oxford Brooks B. Bump and pass. And that's crucial, because that means now, even if they win the race and Birmingham finish second, that Birmingham would beat them in the round.
Critical stuff here, and how often have we been talking about how it's important to keep it clean and avoid penalties. Still, Matthew Lewis is locked into battle with the Warwick B kart, and Aston A are in amongst this as well, with Tom Fox, of course, on board for that effort. The 50 is out of position, and the 95 is showing us effectively out this race on timing, by the way, just as an update on that one. Curb warning for Edinburgh. Look at how the battle, how the lead gap is closed up though. Brooks B goes to the inside here on Simon Morton and gets the job done. So Brooks B moved to the lead on the road, but they have a bump and pass penalty, and because that's determined by positions this year, not by time, that is it. It doesn't matter how far ahead they get in that lead, they are going to not win this race, and as Andrew says, put themselves behind Birmingham for the eventual standings in the round. Lewis Bickers still runs third for Nottingham. There he is, and then Henry Jackson and Tom Thickpenny, who's having a brilliant race for Loughborough A, coming in, cutting his way through all these battles in the top 10, currently lining up 5th.
Simon wearing Rory's helmet.
He is, yes, just to confuse us.
Oh, thank you very much, Simon.
Yes. That's something for to keep into account. Ben Simpson putting a lap on the 50 car. He's got Tom Fox right with him. Matthew Lewis is there as well for Brooks A. Then there's Southampton and Coventry. They're all in this battle here, all the way down from 8th down to 12th this is. And Exeter's in on it as well, actually. You've got Coventry A and Exeter A, 12th and 13th on the road. Two of the teams vying for the outright round victory this morning at Three Sisters. Remember, this isn't it for the racing today. We've got round 4 to come for you this afternoon. Meanwhile, we cut back to the leaders. Simon Morton right on the tail of Brooks B. We don't actually have the driver listed. I'm not sure if you recognise who's at the wheel. Brooks Scott, you get the bear with me gesture. Lewis Bickers, though, seems to be closing the gap as well. He is closing the gap. In fact, it's all closing up between these karts. The 32 of Country B, though, looking to get past Warwick A, who've been a little bit off the pace over the last few laps. It's Callum Hopcutt for Coventry B there. We cut back to Aston A. And now we cut back to Tom Thickpenny, who's got past Henry Jackson on the last lap, but Henry Jackson's not letting that position go.
I'm going to hazard a guess that it's Piers, Pakenham, Walsh.
That's a good guess, actually, now you say it. That is his normal helmet, I think, so that's a very shrewd spot. Furiously puts away on the championship permutations and round permutations. Look at that battle pack that just went through shot, by the way. That is the one I was talking about from 8th downwards, Warwick B downwards. It's absolutely, it's all the way down to 15th, 8th to 15th, separated by mere tenths at the moment. So there's a battle at the front for the overall lead of the race. Brooks B leads Birmingham A. And then here is the battle group from 8th downwards. Ben Simpson of Warwick B, Pascal Pook of Southampton A, Aston A's Tom Fox. We cut back to the leaders because still Simon Morton is all over the back of Piers, Pakenham, Walsh for Brooks B.
Just to give you guys a shout, a heads up, keep an eye on Exeter's position. They're currently P11, and with how the drop scores work, they're not that far off further improving their score. Now, at the moment, there's a whole, it's exactly the same as what we saw at Bookmore Park. A clear leader, this time it's Coventry instead of Loughborough, but there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 teams on 160 something. And each position is going to be really key. At the moment, it's still Birmingham holding second place for the round on countback ahead of Oxford Brooks B once we take into account Oxford Brooks B's penalty. But look at this, Simon Morton might have a little attack here. No, he thinks he's better of it.
He's been holding station for the last few laps, I've noticed, but it's not deterring Lewis Bicker's assault on the gap.
Elsewhere, just to run down the provisionals, Huddersfield are on 167, Cambridge are on 166, Sheffield are on 165, Exeter A are on 163, Warwick A, Loughborough A, Coventry B, Nottingham A, Oxford Brooks A are all on 162. I'm not even going to try and work out that tiebreaker. And Oxford Brooks C are on 161.
Wow, the closeness of the racing we've seen reflected in the round scoring so far.
Good, very wise little gesture there from Simon Morton. He was pushing Pakenham Walsh down the straight. Pakenham Walsh was checked over his shoulder. Simon gave him a little nod and say, yes, I will work with you, keep going, don't defend. Very, very heads up driving there from both of them.
Yeah, very good. I wonder if Morton is aware of the penalty that Brooks B have, because this is his turn, this is his win at the moment. If he can just work with Piers, Pakenham, Walsh to pull away from Lewis Bickers, although Bickers really isn't allowing that to happen. And Tom Thickpenny in 4th from Loughborough kart there, you just saw him flash over the back of your sock. There he is with his yellow ombre helmet. Is that how he? His sunlight yellow and orange design. There he is. Very lovely there. And this is going to become a 4-kart battle for the race. Henry Jackson is somewhat off the back of this in his blue and white race suit. You just seen in the back of some of them shots. Now, Southampton A and Exeter A have both got past Warwick B. So Exeter A now up to 9th place is the number 10.
And now starting to increase their round score.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the significance of that. So look out for the number 10 on the timing screen to your left. There is the battle between the 32 and the 6. That's Coventry B and Warwick A. Coventry B doing a good turn here to try and win in Clublands, currently leading that class fairly comfortably. The next one down the road is the 22 you just saw there, the green helmeted Ben Simpson driving the Warwick B kart. And they're not really in the hunt, Warwick B, for the club to get an outright victory. So it's looking good for Coventry B at the moment. Oh, I'm getting a finger waved at me. No, it's not.
At the moment, Sheffield A are looking like they're going to win because they've already got 165 in the bank. Coventry B currently it's not completely over, 163.
Yep. Top 4 now, nose to tail. Henry Jackson didn't seem too happy about it. There he's in 5th. Then here's the 32 Coventry B in 6th. Ben Street and that Warwick A kart in 7th. Then comes the Exeter kart that's got to the head of that crazy battlefield for 8th now. Pascal Pook behind him for Southampton A in the 7th. There is Pascal Pook in his blue and bright yellow helmet, and then Ben Simpson of Warwick B is behind them. Back to the leaders, now having to deal with traffic. Here's Packham and Walsh for Brooks B. Leads the way. Simon Morton's been holding station tactically. Past the 19, which is Newcastle A.
Just to talk about our round winners elect, Coventry A now up to 11th place. They need to they need to get 7th or higher to start further extending their round leads. At the moment, they're in a very, very good position.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saying that they just lost 4 positions. Moved by the number 5. That's on the back marker. So
it is, but it's allowed Tom Thickpenny's got right onto the back of Lewis Bickers. This is Loughborough A onto the back of Nottingham A, the number 4 onto the back of the 5 here. You'll see them coming onto Rogerson straight on this shot. So you've got the 2 the leader, the 8 of Birmingham, the 5 of Nottingham, and the 4 of Loughborough A.
Sorry, mate, did we mention that Oxford Brooks A have received a bumper pass penalty?
We haven't mentioned that Brooks A have received a bumper pass penalty. Is that recent?
I'm calling this now, ladies and gentlemen. I think this is Oxford Brooks A's title challenge dying.
Yeah.
They're going to have used up both of their drop scores in terms of the kind of scoring that you need to do to mount a championship challenge. You know, Oxford Brooks A are going to have used up both of their drop scores, and they've already dropped other points across the season. This is not looking good for Oxford Brooks A at all. No.
We're into
yellow flag out to turn 1.
Yep, indeed.
There's a driver just coming onto the Rogerson straight. Stranded. One of the other. Oh, it's the number 50. Nottingham C off.
So we have just over 8 minutes left to go. Your top 4 are still nicely packed close together. You can see there the 32 of Coventry B have pulled out a bit of a gap there of Warwick A. In fact, Exeter are now reeling Warwick A in, if anything. Gap went down by half a second on the last lap. Look at this though, change at the front. Something's happened to Piers, Packard and Walsh, and both Simon Morton and Lewis Bickers have gone through. This is it, it's kicked off now at the front. 2 of them go to the outside, 2 of them go to the inside. It's Simon Morton for Birmingham A. Lewis Bickers and Tom Thickpenny has now got the job done on Piers, Packard and Walsh again. So it's now, oh, has he though? Because Packard and Walsh comes back. Will have the inside going on to the Rogerson straight. I think he'll hold on to that. Indeed he does. So it's Birmingham A, Nottingham A, Brooks B, albeit with a penalty to be applied, and then Loughborough A. The dam's broken, as it were. The gloves are off, and the battles have begun amongst the top 4. And if I were Henry Jackson in the Nottingham Tread A car, I'd be putting the hammer down to try and catch on to the back of this and make it a 5-kart battle, although the gap has gone out quite a bit. To the Lewis Bickers goes defensive, but Tom Thickpenny gets a beautiful switchback out of that corner and gets alongside Piers, Packard and Walsh again for 3rd place. The same people go to the outside and the inside as a lap ago, and Lewis Bickers gets a lovely run off of that Joey Dunlop corner. Is he going to have an opportunity into paddock against Simon Morton of Birmingham A for the race lead? Yes, he does. Beautiful move. Nottingham A to the head of the field. The number 5 leads. Side by side for 2nd place is the 8 and the 2. No, they're not. Tom Thickpenny's in there with the Loughborough A kart, so the rest stay as they were. Nottingham A in the 5, Birmingham A in the 8, Loughborough A in the 4, and Brooks B in the 2. Brilliant battle between these 4 drivers in the closing stages of round number 3 of the 2019 British Universities Karting Championship. Nobody attempts anything into the corner at the end of Conrad Straight, but they'll head now down towards Joey Dunlop corner. Who goes for what strategy? Lewis Bickers stays on the conventional line. On the inside goes Simon Morton, brilliantly judged on the inside. Tom Thickpenny's judged it well as well though, so he's side by side. Birmingham A versus Loughborough A. I think Morton's going to hold on to it. He does. Piers, Packard and Walsh for Brooks B as well. Gets past Lewis Bickers of Nottingham A. It's now Birmingham A, Loughborough A, Brooks B and Nottingham A. What a battle this is turning into, and this could run for the next 6 minutes, but Simon Morton for now is back to the front for Birmingham A.
What an absolutely sensational move by Simon Morton. He just seemed to slip it nonchalantly up the inside. Now he's going to go defensive. Now this is wise because he knows it's so slippery around the outside. Brooks B up to second now. But this is really, what's really key is keeping ahead of that number 4 car. That's the one that's fighting them in terms of the championship in this particular round. But a brilliant bit of heads-up driving from Simon Morton. He had a lot of this in the Enduro at Bookmore Park where he nearly held off a charging Carl Morby for the best part of 10 minutes. He's got, oh my goodness, 5 wide coming down into the valley. What on earth was going on there? But he's got 5 minutes now to fend off 3 drivers equally of high amounts of talent as he had to deal with Carl Morby in round 2.
On to Conrod Straight one more time. Well, not one more time, one of several more times, which is possibly unfortunate news if you're Simon Morton, because you'd probably like this to end now. Tom Thickpenny goes to the outside. He's going to try and get a switch back on Piers Packen and Walsh in that battle over third place. There's traffic coming into play here. The 97 is up ahead of them. That's Coventry C. It stays as they were going through Joey Dunlop corner, but brilliant run out the corner for the Brooks B kart. He gets alongside Nottingham A, and so does Tom Thickpenny for Loughborough. I think they're both going to get him. They have both got him. It's Simon Morton for Birmingham A, then Piers Packen and Walsh for Brooks B, then Tom Thickpenny for Loughborough A, and then Lewis Bickers. But Thickpenny's looking to the inside of Brooks B, who goes wide out of there, and I think Thickpenny's going to get it done for Loughborough A up the inside. Beautiful move. Thickpenny up to second for Loughborough A. Now, will he use the element of surprise and try something? Look over the shoulder from Morton. Well, he might. Every man in his dog, it must seem like, is trying to get this lead off of him at the moment. Lewis Bickers tries to get a Thickpenny-esque switchback out of the corner, heading down to Joey Dunlop, but it hasn't paid off there. He goes for the wide line for Nottingham A. Piers Packen and Walsh keeps it defensive on the inside, as does the 2 ahead of him. As they come round to start a new lap, Simon Morton feels the need to go defensive into Paddock corner. Will that compromise him onto the Rogerson straight? On they go. Birmingham A, Loughborough A, Brooks B, and Nottingham A. And the gap is going down between these guys in Nottingham Trent. Side by side for the lead. Brilliant run off of Luna Bend for Tom Thickpenny and Loughborough A. He gets alongside. I think he's going to get the job done. Piers Packen and Walsh is trying to follow him through. Lewis Bickers is trying to follow through. Are they all going to try up the inside of Simon Morton? All of them bar Bickers. Through goes Tom Thickpenny into the lead of the race. Loughborough A lead. He's going to have to go defensive though. This time Simon Morton takes the conventional line, but that's going to leave him exposed to Lewis Bickers. Indeed it does. And Morton, having led the race at the start of the lap, is down to 4th place. This is fantastic battling at the head of the field here at Three Sisters. Tom Thickpenny goes defensive against Piers Packen and Walsh. Lewis Bickers is going to try and get alongside, but it's not on, so he goes back. Falls back into line behind Brooks B. Brooks B, remember, do have a bump and pass penalty to be applied, as does their sister kart, the Brooks A kart, running down in 16th. It really hasn't been a day for Brooks, as Andrew says. This could be their championship bid dying. Simon Morton's going to try and get a switchback, is he, on Lewis Bickers. Goes wide on the entrance. He'll try and late apex it to give himself a good run heading towards Joey Dunlop. Who does what this time round? Top 3 go defensive. Simon Morton goes to the outside. He's going to try and get a good run off the corner. Piers Packen and Walsh somehow finds a gap alongside 3 wide for second place. Brooks B is going to lead it, but who's going to be second? It's going to be Lewis Bickers for Nottingham A now, ahead of Simon Morton and Tom Thickpenny. This is absolutely frenetic stuff.
The racing's on fire, the spreadsheet of doom's on fire. There's the 3-way tie on 167 for second place. There's a 3-way tie for 5th place on 166. 6 teams are covered by 1 single round point, but the result, it could be up to a 5-point swing in the championship. Round the outside goes Simon Morton. That's very brave indeed, but he's going to lose out there. He's lost a position to Tom Thickpenny. It's now Brooks B ahead of Nottingham, Loughborough, Birmingham, but we know the Brooks kart has a penalty.
We do indeed. Lewis Bickers may not know it, but he's sitting on a win for Nottingham at the moment. Less than 90 seconds of this one to go. Who is going to take the victory in this race? Who is going to take the victory in this round? There are so many unknowns in this season of BUKC, even more so than we've come to expect. And just in the background there was the 13 of Nottingham Trent A. He's been sitting quite dormant. I've been actually surprised at how he hasn't been catching them. But Henry Jackson is closing in on them slowly. He took half a second out of the last lap, and the gap is down to 2 seconds. So will he come to feature? I reckon they're going to have one more lap after this. Lewis Bicker's jinxed to the outside, but he may actually lose the effective lead trying to take the actual lead, because that card at the head isn't in the effective lead. Simon Morton goes to the outside line. He's going to try and get good drive to set up an opportunity into paddock. It's worked well for him, but Tom Thickpenny is in turn trying to get past Lewis Bickers, so there's no opportunity. On to the last lap they go. Who is going to take this victory?
Just to update you folks as well, Exeter, 6th place. They're now sitting second in this round, but that could all change depending on what happens between these 3, 4, 5 drivers on this last lap of the race. They're going to come round onto the Conrod Straight for the final time. Will Brooks go defensive? Yes, they will. To hard drivers right. Thickpenny's got to go round the outside of Bickers. Remember, actually, that's the battle for the lead, because the bumper passes multiple positions. It's all about Bickers and Thickpenny. Can they make a move? Can Simon Morton make a move? He's looking to the outside, but it looks like it's going to be Nottingham. Nottingham are going to win the race as a count of the penalties. There it is. Brooksby think they've won. Oh, big off right at the end on the last corner. But Brooksby take it on the road, but they have a penalty. Nottingham A takes second, so they will take the win. Loughborough A, then Birmingham A, Nottingham Trent A, Exeter A are 6th. Coventry B are 7th. Oh, they just miss out.
Fantastic stuff there from the BUKC. Do go and check some of that out if you've got the time to do so whilst the lockdown is on. We'll sure be back with the BUKC later in the year. Moving on to race number 4 then, the penultimate video to review in this top 5 from DDMM and myself, Andrew Mather. Another series, another place that we could not leave out in a top 5 for myself is Whilton Mill, just down the road from us here at DDMM HQ. They've been great servants to us, a great home for us as well, not just for Club 100 and BUKC events, but of course the Whilton Mill Kart Club, which we covered the full season of in 2019. And we're going to go a little bit back into the early parts of the 2019 season and the X30 Junior class, which for me was the class, the most competitive and compelling class at Whilton Mill Kart Club last year. And once again, whilst most of the races were very, very strong, there's one race in particular that sticks out in the memory. And again, similar to what we've already seen earlier in this video, involved a drive through the field that, to be honest, at the start of the race was looking very, very unlikely. You also had several changes for a lead, dramatic retirements as well. It was at round 2 of WMKC 2019. So let's take a look at it now. X30 Juniors final from the second round of the WMKC 2019 Championship.
We're back then for the final, this time in X30 Junior. Andrew Mather on the commentary duties for you today, here on behalf of Double Dash Motorsport Media, who will be providing the commentaries for every single Whilton Mill Kart Club event this season. Great to be here alongside Alpha Live, producing the stream for you as ever. Here's the starting grid then for race 24, the X30 Junior final, here for round 2 of the Whilton Mill Kart Club Championships 2019. Thomas Leben starts from pole position. Reggie Dewey alongside him on the front row. Samuel Shaw and Carly Atkins are on row 2. Rashan Chigarimbo and Joshua Torpy are on row 3. Tyler Reid and Daniel Amazigo are on row 4. Thomas Mills and Jude Fernerhuff on row 5. Row 6, Lorenzo Cordell and Christian Brooks. Row 7, Aaron Walker in the number 80 and Alicia Barrett. Row 8, Samuel Hawthorne and Dylan Hodgkin. Row 9, Archie Brown in the number 20 and Aaron Walker in the number 15. Row 10, Caden McQueen, who did not have a good first heat of the day. Charlie Field alongside him on that 10th row. Oscar Joyce and Alex Moody are on row 11. Alexander Johnston and Charles Betts are on row 12. Ben Jenkins and Casper Scusa on row 13. Austin Byrne, Mason Reeve on row 14, Finley Dunn and Marcus Littlewood on row 15. And I reckon that's all we're going to have time for, because we are ready to race here in X30 Junior. This should be a fantastic final. No, because it's a false start flag. You'd know, wouldn't you? just to finish off the grid then, row 16, Ben McDowell and Kyle Dunford. So Kyle Dunford has not had a good day, but watch out for him coming through the field. Vishal Patel also hasn't had a good day in terms of race results and penalties. He will start from the back of the grid. Remember, you can give Double Dash Motorsport Media a like on Facebook. Your support is massively appreciated. Head across to Double Dash Motorsport Media's Facebook page. If you want to know how to find it, search those words, Double Dash Motorsport Media. Give the page a like. Meanwhile, we'll get ready for attempt number 2 to get this X30 Junior final up and underway. Thomas Leben on the left of your picture starts from pole position. Much better start this time around. In fact, the pole side of the grid got a very good start there, led by Thomas Leben, and I think Samuel Shaw managed to nip through there into second position, but it's going to be Leben leading at the early stages of this one. Reggie Dewey trying to fight back in the red cart around the outside, but he's down to third. So Leben leads from Samuel Shaw. Reggie Dewey trying to fight in there for third place, and in fact, yes, he's gone round the outside. That's a fantastic move from Reggie Dewey, and Reggie Dewey is up to second, and now going for the lead as well. Has a little look, oh, just pulls out of it at the last moment. And there's a move there for third place. That was Chikarimbo, Rashan Chikarimbo, up to third place past Samuel Shaw. So Samuel Shaw, after his great start, ends lap 1 in 4th. Sam Shaw fights back though, retakes third place, and everyone's favourite overtaking spot on the run up to Christmas, and move for the lead. Reggie Dewey hits the front. He's gone back down the inside of Thomas Leben and retakes the lead. First time we've seen him in the lead in this final, but of course we've seen him at the front in the heats in this class already today. What can Thomas Leben do to fight back here? He's won heats as well. Lorenzo Cordal fighting there. I think that was with the number 29 of Daniel Amazigo. The ball coming through now. Thomas Leben fights back. Goes down the inside. Wow. What a response that was from Thomas Leben. Straight back in, but Reggie Dewey's down. Oh, big off. Oh, that's a huge off. I cannot see who that was. Driver's okay. Oh, now this might be a red flag, because that has gone a long way off the circuit. It's up into the trees at Christmas Corner. I think it's Archie Brown. It's Archie Brown, the number 20. He's absolutely fine. But Archie Brown hasn't come through the first sector. So I'm making the statement there that that's who I think it is. Yeah, Archie Brown falling down through the order. Yellow flags out at Christmas Corner. I think we're going to keep the race running. I think knowing that the driver is okay up there. But my goodness, that is a monster incident for a kart to reach up there before. I've only seen that once before here at Whilton Mill. As up the inside, that was a move being done on Joshua Torpey. I think that was Carly Atkins going through for fourth place, and Alicia Barrett's coming through now in the orange and white kart, the blue and pink helmet. Alicia Barrett currently the fastest driver out on circuit, until Reggie Dewey just set that fastest lap of the race, 45.69. Still yellow flags out for Archie Brown's kart that is up at the top of the circuit. Battle going on here. Lorenzo Cordal trying to fend off Caden McQueen. Fails to do so. Rashan Chigarimbo in there as well. Caden McQueen really is in damage limitation mode at the moment, having started so far down the grid. Good move that by Samuel Shaw, who's coming back through the field after earlier incidents. So Samuel Shaw up to 11th. Samuel Hawthorne up to 12th. Christian Brooks down to 13th place, up the inside of the number 73. That was a good move there. Reggie Dewey continues to lead this one though. There's the number 33 of Alicia Barrett. And so it was Alicia Barrett making the move on Thomas Mills that we saw. No, that was Alicia Barrett on Joshua Torpey, of course, that we saw a moment ago. Field still very close together. The top 19 is covered by less than 10 seconds. And there we see a move for the lead as well. So Thomas Leben has gone back to the front of the field. Starts to defend. And Tyler Reid's starting to come into this now. So Tyler Reid, who's had a fairly quiet day, in the 27 there, putting Reggie Dewey and Thomas Leben under a lot of pressure now. 5 minutes and 45 seconds plus 1 lap to go then in the final for the X30 Juniors. Over start finish. Thomas Leben confirmed as the new leader of the race by 0.16 of a second ahead of Reggie Dewey, but not for much longer. Reggie Dewey down the inside again, retakes the lead off Thomas Leben, and Tyler Reid's still in there as well. And in fact, look at Carly Atkins coming in now as well. We've got a 4-way scrap for the lead. And in fact, yes, Tyler Reid has now also got through into second place. So Tyler Reid has gone past Thomas Leben. So can Tyler Reid pull in Reggie Dewey now? Because it's going to be hard now for anyone to reel in Reggie Dewey. A cross start finish, the end of lap 8. 4 minutes and 45 seconds. And, was there a problem there for the 24? Oh, up the inside! Oh, very close there. That was a good attempt from Tyler Reid. There was a little gesture from Carly Atkins. I think he's got some form of problem. What's happened to Reggie Dewey? What has happened to Reggie? Stopping! His star is broken down! This is unbelievable! Reggie Dewey was in full control of this race and has retired. He's out of the X30 Junior final. And my goodness me, Tyler Reid, Thomas Leben, Carly Atkins, count your chickens. That is unbelievably bad luck for Reggie Dewey. And this is now the battle for the lead. 4 minutes to go then. Thomas Leben has also got back past Tyler Reid and is now in the lead. Carly Atkins is going up the inside. He takes second place. This is all going on in this race in X30 Juniors. And look just behind them as well. Alicia Barrett is now coming into this. Caden McQueen. Caden McQueen will not believe this either. Mere moments ago, we were talking about how Caden McQueen was on a damage limitation job in this particular round. Well, he can see the leaders now. And 3 minutes, 18 seconds, plus 1 lap. Who's to say what will happen here? Up the inside of Atkins, there's another move. That's Tyler Reid going through, and Caden McQueen is now through and into 4th place. The stricken cart there of Reggie Dewey, you can just see him there on the marshal post. All he can do now is stand and watch as his rivals carry on with this race. 2 minutes, 40 seconds to go. Here is your battle for the lead. A 5-way battle for the lead, led by that driver there. Thomas Leben leads from Tyler Reid, Carly Atkins, Caden McQueen, and Alicia Barrett. It's going to be one of those 5 who's going to take round 2 in X30 Junior for the Whilton Mill Kart Club Championships 2019. And you know what? I wouldn't even count out Joshua Torpey at this stage as well. Just there in 6th place, just starting to close in onto the back of this set of karts. Sam Shaw's going quick as well. He's quicker than all of the leaders at this stage of the race. This is an absolutely brilliant final. We saw one of the races of the day from them earlier in Heat 3. Still the leaders now. It looks like Lemon and Reed are actually trying to work together now. But no, Reed's going to go up the inside, going to try and retake the lead away from Thomas Lemon, and he does. Into Christmas, new leader. Tyler Reed with 1 minute and 30 seconds to go, and they didn't lose too much time making that switch. Caden McQueen has now got up to third. He's got past Carly Atkins in the last lap, so Caden McQueen is now less than a second on circuit, and Caden McQueen's going to go for second and take second. Caden McQueen is now up to second place. Can he catch Tyler Reed and overtake Tyler Reed? We've got 1 minute to go, so there will be 3 more laps. This is a pulsating final, and there's another move. This time it's Alicia Barrett. Alicia Barrett goes up the inside of Carly Atkins. That's for 4th place. Round Ashby Corner. Tyler Reed still leads, but there's Caden McQueen. Is he going to go to the inside? Yes, he is going to go to the inside. And Caden McQueen is now leading. This is unbelievable. Caden McQueen has come from 19th on the grid in this final and now leads here at Whilton Mill for round 2 of the X30 Junior Kart Club Championships. Can you believe it? 2 laps to go now. There will be this lap, time will expire, and then there will be 1 more. But it's still this group of 5 now: McQueen, Reed, Leben, Barrett and Atkins, and still any one of them could win this race. Time has now expired for the drivers. Caden McQueen, if he can hold on to this lead, will see the final lap board first in a few moments' time. Through the boot they go. Oh, a little mistake there from Thomas Leben. He's going to be under attack from Alicia Barrett now. On to the final lap. Here we go. Caden McQueen still leads. Tyler Reed is second. Thomas Leben third. Alicia Barrett still in 4th. And Carly Atkins in 5th. Caden McQueen will have to go defensive here into the 5th. Oh, look at this round the outside. Thomas Leben, brilliant move. Up into 2nd place now for Thomas Leben. Caden McQueen will have to go defensive again. Tyler Reed fights back. Alicia Barrett's up the inside as well, still there in 4th. But no, she's lost it now to Carly Atkins. They're all squabbling over 2nd. They're letting Caden McQueen get away with this. Up the inside. And that's still now Reed ahead of Leben. Alicia Barrett's back to 4th, but Caden McQueen is going to take one of the most unbelievable victories that he's had in his time in Whilton Mill Kart Club. He's come from 19th on the grid. Caden McQueen wins the X30 Junior final. Tyler Reed takes 2nd, and Thomas Leben finishes 3rd. What a final that was. Carly Atkins is 4th. Sam Shaw in the end finishes 5th. Rashad Chigarimbo finishes in 6th, Alicia Barrett 7th, Joshua Torpian 8th, Lorenzo Cordell 9th, and Thomas Mills wraps out the top 10. Oh, the 48's off. The 48 on the last corner, that's Alexander Johnston, who was in 14th position, and he's going to, well, I don't know if he's even going to make the finish. Unbelievable scenes here in the X30 Juniors. My, oh my, the attrition in that final. Sam Hawthorne, we didn't mention, retired. Reggie Dewey retired from the lead. Mason Reeve retired as well. Finley Dunmore, problems for him. And Archie Brown with a quite scary, what was might have been either an open throttle or a brake failure up at Christmas. What drama in the X30 Junior final. But it's Caden McQueen who wins from way down the grid.
An absolutely fantastic drive there from Caden McQueen, keeping his head, using all of that experience to take the victory. We're coming on to our last video now, and we're going to go back to the world of Club 100. We said we'd mention Joe Holmes and the heavyweights again in this video. 2019 was a very special year for Club 100, as for the first time ever we held a super final championship merging the top heavyweight and top lightweight drivers from each streamed round that we did across the 2019 season. This formed its own championship, a 6-round mini championship known as the Club 100 Super Final Championship. And what a championship it was from start to finish, when we held the first super final at Whilton Mill, through to this final one of the season at Clay Pigeon Raceway down in the south of England. A fantastic circuit, Clay Pigeon, one steeped with a lot of history. Jenson Button, of course, famously started his career down at Clay Pigeon. And what's always key about Clay Pigeon is, as Jenson's driving style showed, being smooth, being fast, and keeping the momentum up around the high-speed nature that Clay Pigeon offers. Now, we've already talked that Joe Holmes has and still is the man to beat in Club 100. And this final also had him on pole position, having won the heavyweight final earlier in that day. But you also had the end of a season climaxing and the final chance for a number of drivers to win what was a fantastic prize in the Super Final Championship last year, which was a professional drive in a Ginetta sports car. There's 2 drivers to keep an eye on out in this race here for battling for that prize, those being Steve, aka Super GT Brown, and Stephen Hicks. They were going for the title. Meanwhile, at the front, though, there was an act of the heavens in play, as Joe Holmes had one of the trickiest races and trickiest challenges of the last few years in Club 100. Let's take a look at it now. The final race of my top 5 is the Super Final from the Club 100 Super Final Championship at Clay Pigeon in 2019.
Those weekends, so if you're chomping at the bit to have a go at this, then you absolutely can do. The forums are on there as well, so do check it out.
We haven't got a formal grid graphic or bit on our computer to tell us what the grid is, but thankfully, there was a penalty in the lightweights. I've just seen Andrew Ward go out at the back of
Yes. I'm going to find out what that was, mate.
But we'll go through the grid then, because essentially it's like Noah's Ark 2x2 through the results from the heavyweight and lightweight final. So Joe Holmes will be on pole position, virtue of having had a faster lap than Daz Teal. So there he is, number 2, Daz Teal. Number 3 there, Steve Brown. Number 4 on the grid will be Andrew O'Neill. Steve Downs and Steve Hicks, 5 and 6. So if the race was to finish like that, Hicks would be champion.
Yeah.
So that's something that we'll point out at the start. Row 4 will be Costa, the Greek god of speed, and Jack O'Neill. Row 5 will be Anwar Barul-Smith and Dan Healy. Row 6 will be Craig Brown and Thanasi Barnico. Row 7, Stuart Jones, Ed Bars. Row 8 will be Mike Noon and Harry Neal. Row 9, Jeff Lamb and Max O'Shaughnessy. Row 10 will be Adam Wright and Danny Brewer. Row 11, Richard Allen and Chris Alcock. Row 12, Mark Ridout and Andrew Ward. Now that must be as a result of someone got a penalty.
And it's a penalty for exceeding track limits. 2 positions taken away from James Barnard, putting him down from 11th to 13th, and that has implications for Class 2 in the lightweights as well, mate, because what it means is that your Class 2 podium for round 9 in the lightweight is now Dan Brewer in 1st, Andrew Ward in 2nd, and James Barnard in 3rd, which just means Andrew Ward has those crucial extra point, which gives him that little bit extra contention within the Class 2 standings going into the final 2 rounds in his pursuit of Dan Brewer.
Good number of drivers going for kart swaps.
Yeah, Steve Hicks was one.
I think Steve Brown, Daz Teal have changed as well. This is fairly normal behaviour.
This happens when we...
Stephen Downs has gone for a kart change as well.
I mean, they'd probably run the top 15 in each A final if they could, but they get through the karts at this point.
You see the number 20 there. That's Dan Brewer.
Bear in mind that we should mention again, the kart numbers have changed.
Yes.
They're not racing under their typical numbers. We know that, for example, Steve Brown is usually number 56. He's not in this one. He is number 3. That is because we've taken 2 classes, the heavyweights and the lightweights, and crash them together into a grid like a Large Hadron Collider. And what it means is nothing like a Large Hadron Collider. I don't know why I said that, but it means that we don't want to have duplicate numbers out there if they happen to have the same numbers from the same class, so we number them up, and that means that their numbers reflect where they start on the grid, which must be it's rather fun to refer to. If mid-race you're wondering, I wonder how that person has done. They started there on the grid. Makes it nice and easy. Makes it hard for us because we often think of drivers in terms of their number. But leave that to us.
Thankfully, all of these guys pretty much have very recognisable helmets and or suits. There you see Joe Holmes looking for another super final victory, and as we say, could be quite a key component in the context of where this championship and the prize, remember the big prize of a full professional test day in a Ginetta G40 GT5 car with the Ultima Academy with Mutation Motorsport. That is what you get for winning the Super Final Championship, sponsored by Ultima Academy with Mutation Motorsport.
One last reminder just before we get into the heat of battle. Steve Hicks leads this championship on 634 points. Steve Brown, aka Super GT, is 4 points behind him. It is 130 points for the win, 128 for second place, 127 for third, and so on and so forth downward by 1 point with each position thereafter.
Here we go then. The final race in the first ever Club 100 Super Final Championship for 2019, sponsored by the Ultima Academy with Mutation Motorsport. Joe Holmes will control this pace as he did in the endurance race yesterday. Away he goes. Very good start for Holmes as they dive into Billy's blind for the first time. Super GT Steve Brown up the inside, crucially into second place, but here comes Steve Hicks through as well. Daz Teal's fallen down a few places. Steve Downs is still in there as well, but as they come through the S's for the first time, all 24 drivers-ish have just about made it through.
Yeah, absolutely. I think was that Healy,
one of the O'Neills, and I think Dan Healy running wide as well.
So they were off there, but they've all recovered back to the circuit, and I'm delighted to say no one ended up pointing the wrong direction in all of that. But there's a very clear breakaway group here forming in the early phases here, Andrew. I'd say about the first 7 or 8 drivers who have got a few kart lengths in hand.
Right, here we go then, across start finish. Let's see what the gaps are as the whole field just files down towards Billy's blind. It's Joe Holmes from Steve Brown. Costa creates this, there he is for third, going for second past Steve Brown, so that's going to help his friend and former teammate Steve Hicks. Remember, they won the Quadrant Series with each other last season, and that's a crucial move by Costa because it relegates Steve Brown by 1 place and takes a point off of him.
Yeah, absolutely crucial stuff there. And also Steve Hicks has now got past Stephen Downs, you can see there, so he's moved a step closer as well. If it finished right now, Steve Hicks would be your champion.
It would be indeed. Meanwhile, Joe Holmes is gone. He's down the road. He's
1
gone.
second.
He's won this race.
1.6 seconds in hand that he has over Costa Karitsis.
Only an act of the heavens can stop him now, as Anwar Barul-Smith has a little look up the inside of Steve Brown there for P3. So at the moment, the gap between Brown there in the white helmet is 2 places to his title rival Steve Hicks behind.
I think you're tempting fate there. Costa Karitsis is supposed to be an act of the heavens. He's the Greek god of speed.
8 minutes to go then, and Joe Holmes, in fact, you know what, Costa's quicker on this lap. He definitely is quicker. 14.734. He was 2/10 quicker than Holmes on that first sector. He's taken 4/10 out of him. He's taken 4/10 out of Joe Holmes. The Greek god of speed is on it. And there's Craig Brown going down the inside of Jack O'Neill. And who's that trying to follow him through as well? It's Harry Neal. Yeah, it is Harry Neal. Another one of the black suit and white helmeted drivers. It's going to happen. Costa's just taken another 2/10 of a second out of Joe Holmes. It is an act of the heavens. This is unbelievable. The Greek god of speed, who hasn't won a super final all season. There's contact there between Chris Alcock and Stuart Jones. That's Tittle of that said, well, I'm going for first, says Chris Alcock there. That old famous sign. Max O'Shaughnessy involved as well. And the gap is 0.9 of a second now between Joe Holmes and Costa Karitsis. It's big move. Oh, Steve Hicks has got past Steve Brown, and that could be the move that makes Steve Hicks the first ever Super Final champion. This is not going well for Super GT. There's a penalty for Stuart Jones for that ABC bump and pass on Chris Alcock, but it may be all over now for Super GT to become the first ever super final champion, because that man there in the black and orange suit, Stephen Hicks, is now ahead of him on the road, and is a guy who he needs to beat by 5 clear positions.
Yeah, it's a physical barrier now for Steve Brown. He has to get past this guy and 4 positions up the road, pretty much, to even have a chance of this. And critically, of course, as we were saying, even if Steve Brown got past him and got into the lead, Steve Hicks is doing enough by being in 4th place. So it really is a mountain to climb for Super GT now if he's going to take this championship. Joe Holmes, though, coming under increasing pressure here.
He's probably wondering, what on earth is this?
What's going on?
Where has Costa come from here? This is unbelievable. He's quicker than Joe Holmes again in the first sector. Oh, it looks like Joe's responding now for the first time in a while. Joe Holmes quicker through a sector than Costa through sector 2. 41.453 for Joe Holmes that last time around. 41.438 for Costa. But the battle is on here. This is what we want to see. Joe Holmes and Costa going at it here in the last super final of the year. This has been a good run for Costa today. He doesn't really have a good record round Clay Pigeon, but he's absolutely nailed it here for round 9 of the championship. Can he take a super final victory to wrap up this super final championship? Might even get him up to about 5th place in the championship as well.
Absolutely superb effort to get him onto the back of Joe Holmes, and I'd say, just visually looking at it, I think Costa has got it down again on this lap. Indeed, he has a 41.091. He's going for it into Billy's blind from quite a way back. Costa's got through and into the lead past Joe Holmes. And he says, let's work together now, man. Let's walk up the road, as there's a penalty for Andrew Ward. That's for bump and pass to 4 positions off. Karitsis has got himself into the lead of the super final, going past Joe Holmes. I'm going to say, he made it look easy.
The act of the heavens has happened. The Greek god of speed leads. Takeout penalty for Mark Ridout. So a lot of drivers going full send in this one. Look at the hand of Joe Holmes. What on earth is this? Why is this happening? How has Costa found all of this speed? There's the championship battle going on as well. Do you know what Steve Hicks is doing? He's backing him up here. He's backing him up. Yeah. He's allowed, because he knows that Steve Brown has not just got to get past him, he's got to get up the road and get positions, and making that gap as big as possible to those positions. Perfect tactics there from Steve Hicks. Still, Costa leads. 4 minutes to go here in the final race, the final super final of 2019, and what would be a real upset here if Joe Holmes was beaten in this super final when he led by over a second in the early stages.
I know it's all, it's this way for a reason, because of how the points work and how you get into this championship. But I'll just say that our current race leader is positioned 19th in the championship.
Oh, okay, he's not going to get 5th then. No,
he's not.
I thought he was higher up than
that. He's 19th. This is only his third appearance in the super finals. He's only had 1 podium. And he's now leading on a track that, you're right, is not actually his strongest traditionally. So there you go. As we cut back to our 2 championship rivals here, and absolutely, Andrew, Steve Hicks is playing a very shrewd game here, which he's perfectly entitled to do, we might add, to maybe just coax a few of the drivers here into putting a move on him on Super GT.
To put it into context with Costa's record in kind of individual driver racing round here, the last time we had a BUKC Drivers' Championship, he got beaten in the standings by me.
Blimey.
That's how shaky it's been, but he's absolutely on it here. He's loving driving this car. There's a battle between Ed Bars and Jack O'Neill. This is over 9th place.
I'm going to stay tight-lipped when you say something like that. We've got to drive home.
Oh, but dear me. So down the inside, well, not down the inside yet. They are closing in on Harry Neal, though, in the number 16 kart. And looking to gain some more positions, just racing for pride pretty much now. Look at the wind. It's still billowing, an absolute gale here at Clay Pigeon, and it's pushing Costa along. He's now 0.6 of a second in the lead. As we look a little bit further down the order, there's Dan Brewer and Adam Wright going at it. This is over 15th place. Brewer's just taken that position on the last lap. Richard Allen just behind them as well, confirmed as super heavyweight champion for 2019. This is a good way for him to finish his day, having a good scrap in this super final. Less than 2 minutes to go then. But I'm just going to say, we've seen these super finals swing back before here around this place, and we're just going to take you back to, again, the last BUKC Drivers' Championship, when Jamie Zyra had a huge lead in the late stages of that race. What was it, the back end of the 2018 season, and he got caught and he got overtaken by James de Havilland. Costa has a little check over the shoulder. Our cameraman's fallen over as we go
it's a very exciting race.
The hairpin. 0.8 is now the gap between Costa and Joe Holmes, and if there's one driver who can dig deep and pull something out of the miracle bag that he has, it's that man there, Joe Holmes.
I will say the gap now between Steve Hicks and Steve Brown is 88 hundredths of a second. I think it is now beyond all reasonable expectation that Steve, and he's got by. Steve Brown's got through. Where did that happen? So Steve Brown has got past Steve Hicks. Now that's not in any way taking a championship away from Steve Hicks, but that's the first step on the wrong, at least for Steve Brown.
It puts him up to P4. Puts the gap down to 3 points, but remember, Hicks has the benefit of the tiebreaker. Even if Brown wins the race, which is looking unlikely at this stage, because the gap to the leader is 5 seconds.
I've got it worked out. If Anwar hits a cone, Joe Holmes exceeds track limits twice, and Costa bumps someone out the way, the championship goes to Steve Brown. That's what has to happen, as we're on the last lap of the day.
Here we go then. What a championship, a mini championship this has been, supported by the Ultima Academy with Mutation Motorsport. I do hope we do this again next year. Are we about to see a champion who, remember, before the first one of these super finals, had never won a Club 100 final in anything, could be about to be our first ever super final champion. Meanwhile, Costa, the Greek god of speed, what a race this has been. What a performance by this man. I doubted him. I doubted all of them, that any of them could beat Joe Holmes, but Costa's done it. Costa wins round 6 of the Club 100 Super Final Championship, and there is your champion. Steve Hicks is the historic first ever Club 100 Super Final champion. He wins the prize of the professional test day in the Ginetta GT5. What a story. A stalwart of Club 100, a stalwart of the BUKC. He is the first ever champion. No one can ever take that title away from him. A well-deserved winner.
Absolutely fantastic campaign driven by this man here. As you say, Andrew, many achievements to his name. He was the Quadrants champion last year. This year, though, he has taken a championship for, well, he was a champion alongside this race, the race winner here. Costa and himself were champions of the Quadrants last year, but this one is a personal win for Steve Hicks. He set his mind on this pretty much from day dot of this season,
it's been
Andrew.
his aim all year.
He has been aiming for this all year, and he has done it, courtesy of 2 wins and a podium. Steve Hicks is your champion in the Club 100 Super Finals Championship for 2019.
And great scenes there. The first person that Steve Brown goes over to post-race is Steve Hicks. Congratulates him on a great race there here at Clay Pigeon. What a story this is. A former BUKC champion as well with Loughborough University.
Yes.
So that's almost like a triple crown in a way. BUKC champion, Saturday Championships champion, and now Super Final champion as well. I will admit, he's a good mate of mine, and I'm very happy to see him win for that from that basis as well. But he fully deserves it because he's been brilliant in these Super Finals ever since the first one at Whilton Mill, which he won. And that was a bit of an upset on that day, but he's thrown his heart and soul into this Super Final champion, and he's a well-deserving Super Final champion, as we say.
What Absolutely. A race, what a drive there from Costa, and what a worthy champion in Steve Hicks as well. Well, that's it. That's the top 5 for myself, Andrew Mellor from Double Dash Motorsport Media. I do hope you've enjoyed those 5 races. I definitely did enjoy them, watching them back through and picking them out. That's, of course, just 5 of the fantastic races that we've commentated on here on Alpha Live's network. So do make sure that you've subscribed to the YouTube channel and given the Facebook page a like, and given them a follow as well on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to follow more of what we do here at Double Dash Motorsport Media, both with Alpha Live and in other areas of motorsport, including the DDMM podcast. You can follow us as well on Twitter at Double Dash MM. That same tag for Instagram as well. You can like us on Facebook, just search Double Dash Motorsport Media, and you can visit our website www.double-mm.com. As I say, I do hope you've enjoyed this video. My name's been Andrew Mather from Double Dash Motorsport Media. Do take care, do stay safe, do stay home and protect the NHS. We'll see you very, very soon for more action here on the Alpha Live social media network.